the Palace of Speed. Early on in this race. Ciao a tutti, benvenuti all'appuntamento con la gara Spec-5 World Tour. Ci troviamo in Italia nella meravigliosa Lombardia. And that, my friends, is Italian for welcoming everyone to Lombardy and Italy. I think Ray Lombardi might have written that a little bit for himself there, but we are here about 20 minutes after my league race for season. I just completely lost my entire train of thought for round 3 of season 13, I believe, of the Spec-5 World Tour. 12, I apologize, from Monza Combined. And about 20 minutes ago, we were racing on the oval layout, but now we're running both the oval and the Grand Prix layout. My I hope that sigh was caught on stream, but my name is Alex Andersen. I've been joined in the commentary booth by Randall McGrew with Adam Thompson in our virtual production truck and Randall. About 20 minutes ago, we were here, but we were using only the oval, and this time, the Spec-5 World Tour drivers are turning right on the oval, and they're also using the Grand Prix layout of Monza as well. And we're looking at the Italian driver of the field in his hometown track, Eugenio Felici, on provisional pole, currently with a 3:28.246. Randall, how's it feel to be back?
It feels like I was just here, and we had an exciting race on the oval, and I'm expecting another exciting race here on the combined layout as we're going to jump on board with John Casey here and take a very long flying lap as he takes what will be turn 1 for the layout going into the high banked oval. This has a progressive banking. I don't think the high line is going to be faster for these cars just because they're not fast enough to really take advantage of the extra grip, and it's just going to be more distance. But we see John Casey going to try it out anyway. That riding that yellow line is probably going to be your best bet. We're going to see this track really open up wide here on the straightaway. There's going to be lots of opportunities for a slipstream pass to develop here going down this long straightaway. We're going to see a lot of those tonight. I expect to see the cars fanning out 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide, and then trying to sort themselves back out as he's coming in here to what will be turn 3 through the oval. Again, he's running kind of the middle here, straddling the progression there in the banking, going to drift up a little bit higher. We'll see how this affects his lap time. I'm still thinking that running down there on that yellow line might be faster in the long run. Comes down onto the Grand Prix layout, a front straightaway. Going to blow past what the pit entry would have been. It's effectively walled off. They're about halfway through the lap now. And take Grand Prix turn 1 here. And actually, they do have the chicane here. They're not blowing past the chicane. So we're going to see him get on the brakes here at about the 125 mark. Get that car rolled all the way down to take the chicane. Ride those curbs. Really abuse those track limits as much as you can without getting a slowdown there. It's very easy to get a slowdown if you cut that curb too much. And then he's going to go through Curva Grande here. Just try to keep it on the inside as much as possible. Try to take the shortest distance around these long curves. This car can easily handle these things flat out. No problems. Coming into the second chicane here, you're going to brake just past the end of this barrier, about the 100 board in these cars, all the way down. Really clip that curb there and the second curb as well. These cars can handle the curbs. And oh, he's got a little bit too much of that curb. Got up on the sausage. And now we're jumping in with Sean Hayes near the end of the lap on the entry to Parabolica. Eugenio Pulici, you want to get over to the inside as much as possible. He's taking a very wide line here, maybe trying to set up a lap, trying to get as much time on throttle as possible before he gets to the start-finish line. We'll stay on board with him again and see him go through the first part of this lap one more time. And I'll jump back in as he gets back towards that second chicane. Alex, this is going to be a really exciting event.
Yeah, most certainly, especially with how much on-throttle time there is at this track. And you'll see the difference in lines. Eugenio running pretty much as close to the grass as he can. Meanwhile, John Casey was up towards the banking. There's also a mile-per-hour difference as well, as Eugenio can barely manage about 125 through the corner. Meanwhile, John Casey running up towards the wall was running about 130 through these banked corners. So different strategy choices on which lines to run through the oval, and so far it looks like the inside through the oval has been the place to be for a lot of these drivers. Eugenio Pulici on provisional pole by just under a tenth of a second. Michael Coates up to P6 there, and just such long laps for these drivers. So it's a while before we really have any change in the leaderboard at the moment. So Eugenio Pulici is just going to try and get this car off this corner as fast as he can. It's just so long. I mean, it really takes a lot of determination from these drivers to just not want to just completely quit with how much on throttle time there is, especially during quali laps when they're running out there by themselves. So we'll see Eugenio Pulici head down the Grand Prix straightaway, and he will take what is normally Grand Prix turn number 1 perfectly fine. And it looks like braking at about the 125, like you said, Randall, all the way down into, I assume, first gear. Yep, there he goes. Eats the curb, gets it turned over. The second one, full throttle early. Oh, and he's going to spin there. I don't think he'll finish that lap. I think, yeah, he's just going to reset back to the pits. So Eugenio Pulici done with his laps at the moment. Here's the 93 car. Mike Dam currently sitting P2, just about a tenth behind Eugenio. We skipped Lesmos, but now we're going into Ascari at about 120 miles an hour, brakes down to about 79. Then it's full throttle from here on out until they get to Parabolica. A bit of a straightaway from here till Parabolica now, as it's just so much full throttle time on this racetrack. It can get really boring for a lot of drivers throughout these quali laps, but trust me, when these drivers get in a big draft pack going through the full throttle sections on this racetrack, it is going to be really, really exciting to watch.
We see Mike Dam struggling with a bit of oversteer on entry here while he's still on the brake. The trick for these cars is going to be getting the heat into the tires at the opening start of this race, because there's so many long straightaways that the tires don't really have a chance to heat up very much. You do build up a little bit of heat on a straightaway due to the toe in and toe out on the different ends of the car and the cambering, but you really need corners to build heat, and the tires have a long time to cool off on all these straightaways. So it's no surprise that we're seeing some of these drivers struggling the first time they come through some of those slow chicanes. maybe getting a little too much curb on the cold tires, sending them around, or just getting to the throttle too early, spinning up those rears because they don't have quite the amount of grip yet.
Yeah, definitely, and that's what we were seeing with Eugenio Pulici. He's on provisional pole, and he was still making mistakes through the chicane, so it's going to be a tough race all day for these drivers. And one thing, I know we seem to mention this every single week, but the ratio of pro to open class drivers right now is absolutely insane. I know the draft is going to pretty much just pull everybody right back together, and we might see 2, 3, or maybe even 4 wide racing, but the only 5 open class cars and the rest of the field is all pro class cars, and that is a staggering difference between the two classes.
So they have a rule in this league that if you win the open class championship, you have to move up to the pro. And they're on their 12th season, so that open class keeps getting smaller and smaller. You have to wonder if they're going to restructure before their next season and open up that open class again and let some people drop back down, or maybe try to increase recruiting. I believe we're on board with Otis Adams now on a flying lap. He's hugging that yellow line. We saw Eugenio Pulici come in very, very low on entry below the yellow line and try to hold it down there as long as he could, but the car did not have enough grip to keep it down there on the flat, and he ended up having to go up into the banking above the yellow line to be able to maintain speed and keep that car turning.
It looks like we have Otis Adams Jr. in the voice chat right now, so I'll be quiet and let you take the turn 1 chicane before you get to any sort of questioning. So,
Hey guys.
it's looking like a pretty decent corner from you there, Otis, and currently sitting P5, maybe 4/10ths back off the pole sitter Eugenio Pulici. While you're in this full throttle section, you think he might be able to get up there on this lap, maybe get in front of him?
Not looking great right now. I'm 2/10ths down, and I'm just not having a great feel for it today. So that's the best I'm gonna do.
All right, well, I personally think that you are going to be able to maybe at least get into the top 3. So, I would say just don't lose hope as you head through both Lesmos. You know, you're in pretty much the home stretch of this lap now. You just have to try and get through the rest of it. So, good luck with that. We're gonna hopefully let you go and let you get back to your qualifying laps from the Monza Combined circuit. And real quick before we let you go, what's your opinion on this track? How fun is it to drive out here in these cars?
It's gonna be nerve-wracking. Hopefully, everybody just behaves for the first handful of laps, and we can at least get to the pit stop before the big one happens. But it'll be like Talladega.
Yeah, pretty much. So, good luck with that. We'll hopefully see you at the end of this race, maybe in one of the podium spots.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
That was Otis Adams Jr. We're still looking at him right now with about 2 minutes left in qualifying. He'll be heading towards Parabolica now. Mike Dam just took provisional pole there with a 3:28.137 over Eugenio Pulici. However, Otis Adams Jr. could have a say in that. However, he's yellow on his first 4th sectors, but he did go green on his last 2. So I believe Otis should be heading through Parabolica right now as we're looking at Jordy Fike currently sitting 15th, and normally you don't really see the 09 car down this far in the pack.
Jordy, that is a beautiful car. I'm breaking out of the production booth to say that is the most glorious paint job I've ever seen in iRacing ever, and I hope you win this race.
We're going to start calling Adam the interrupting cow. He keeps jumping in here and interrupting us. Jordy coming through Parabolica to complete this lap. And I'd like to point out something on the timing tower. You see that there are some drivers that have bronze numbers and silver numbers. And we did have at least one goal that may be obscured right now. Those are people that have donated to the league beyond their entry fee to try to get this thing going and get them broadcasted. And also you'll see that Mitchell Peak has a red number. He is the current open class points leader. And Andrew Gilliland has a blue number. That means he is the current open class. Sorry, I got Mitchell Peak wrong. That is the pro class leader, and Andrew Gilliland is the open class leader.
Yeah, and as Adam works to get the points up, there he goes. Mitchell Peak currently in the lead of the Pro Class Championship standings. He won last season's championship, I believe, currently sitting pretty up there with 185. Not a pretty big gap, though, back to Mike Dam there in second, Joshua Soto in third, Ronnie Coates in fourth, John Allen in 5th. Camden Hibbett hasn't had the best start to his season in 6th. Neither is Otis Adams Jr. in 7th. Nicky Borovic in 8th. Sean Hayes in 9th, and Brian Zabelski in 10th. So, Randall, if you'd like to take us through our open class standings.
Andrew Gilliland has a 10-point lead over Ken Copeland. And then Andrew Kosick in 3rd place, 5 points behind Ken. Josh Olson in 4th with 68 points. Jerry DiPiero in 5th place with 61. John Casey, who we were on board with there briefly, with 46 points in 6th place. Charles Vaccaro with 43 points in 7th place. And Jose Gonzalez from Not a Team in P8 with 37 points.
Yeah, and those are the only drivers that have scored points, and it looks like Adam's already back at it again with the Let's Go Jerry. So Jerry DiPiero, he's been doing a pretty good job all throughout the season so far, but looks like we can take you through our starting grid for tonight. Mike Dam, the Canadian, on pole alongside the Italian home track hero Eugenio Polici. Camden Hibbett's there in 3rd, Ruby Coimbra in 4th, Michael Coates in 5th, Otis Adams Jr. in 6th. Where'd they go? There they are. Mitchell Peak there in 7th. Ronnie Coates in 8th. Kane Lasky in his first start of the season, I believe, in 9th. Brian Zabelski in 10th. Joshua Soto in 11th. Greg Mack in 12th. A little bit further behind them, we have Nicky Borovic in 13th, John Allen in 14th, Jordy Fike in 15th, Ray Lombardi in 16th, David Staub in 17th, Sean Hayes in 18th, and Andrew Kosick on pole for the open class there in 19th. Jose Gonzalez right alongside him in 20th. Kenneth Staub, another pro class driver, in 21st. Jerry DiPiero, 3rd place in the open class driver, 3rd place in the open class and qualifying, right behind some of his open class competitors. Charles Vaccaro was there in 23rd, Andrew Gilliland in 24th, I believe. No, 2 more cars as John Casey's there in 25th, and Lee Martin looks like didn't set a lap there in 26th. So 26 Miatas will take to this 6.21 mile race track. Absolute behemoth of a circuit. As 30 seconds from now, these cars will start to roll off the grid. What a show we are in for tonight.
This race will run 13 laps in distance in this amount of time with about a 3.5 minute lap. The pit window will open at lap 5 and close at lap 8. They are able to get just over 8 laps of fuel out of a full tank with the limited size tank that they have. So they'll need another 5 laps worth of fuel to make it to the end. There's a pretty big strategy window there. It doesn't sound very big, only 4 laps of pit window, but that's 4 very long laps. A lot can happen during the course of the pit cycle. So you may see some people try to stick it out there a little bit longer and hope for something to happen to be able to make an opportunistic move to come in and take a pit at just the right time.
Yeah, and with those pit stop moves, I mean, just about 6.25 miles is 1 lap around this circuit. And really, I mean, if we're going over 4 laps, I know 4 laps as a pit window doesn't sound very big, like you mentioned, Randall, but 4 laps at this track, you're talking about maybe 25 miles of continuous running over 4 laps. So we have to see what these drivers can do to cope with that, because 25 miles is a very long distance.
Alex, I want to cut in real quick here. We were just on Andrew Gilliland. Just remember, that kid is 11 years old, and he's out here running with the big dogs.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see what he can do, as it's going to be full throttle for about a minute and a half. As soon as the green flag falls, as the iRacing safety car into the safety of the pit lane, and the drivers will await the green flag for a while now, as they're just maintaining their spots. The green flag is out. We are racing once again from Monza. Mike Dam with a pretty good start. Eugenio Polici's going to best him around the outside, though he needs help from Rui Coimbra as they head into turn number 1. That's exactly what he'll get. Rui going to start to push him as the field starts to fan out behind them, as it's going to be full throttle for a while now. Eugenio Polici using that banking up top, trying to get a run around Mike Dam. This is racing. This style of racing is like what you would see at Daytona or Talladega right now, but these drivers racing like it's a restrictor plate track, and that's because it basically is for these little cars. As down the back straightaway, Eugenio Polici just about out in front, and here comes Rui Coimbra around the outside. That'll make it 3 wide for the lead down the back straightaway. Stuck in the middle is Eugenio Polici. Already they're going 3 wide as Jerry DiPiero has taken the open class lead side by side with Andrew Gilliland. Andrew Gilliland now up into the lead, but 3 wide into turn number 3 now. as it looks like drivers still getting stuck in the middle. The entire field fanning out as they come back down towards the Grand Prix front straightaway. Rui Coimbra leads the entire field now as they head through this corner.
We saw there going down the straightaway that I saw a brake light flashing as they spread out 4 wide down the GP straightaway, which is narrower than normal. They're going to get themselves sorted out back into 2 columns here very cleanly, but we saw some brake lights flashing, so not everybody pushing super hard down that straightaway, just maybe a couple bump drafts going on back in the field, people trying to take it calm and get through a couple laps here, but they're fighting up front for this lead very early on. We see Rui Coimbra goes wide and has to cut through the chicane. He's going to have a massive slowdown.
And I never thought I would say this when this race started, but they all made it through turn number 1, and for that, I'm giving them a round of applause. If this was any other series, I don't think they would have made it through turn 1, and there's Rui Coimbra having to serve his slowdown. It's Joshua Soto now. I don't even remember ever mentioning him on the starting grid, but he's up there in 2nd place now. Jerry DiPiero up into 17th, currently 1 spot ahead of John Casey for the open class lead into the 2nd chicane. A lot of give and take going on between these drivers into this chicane side by side between Jordy Fike and Sean Hayes. Both, I believe, past champions of this series. Sean Hayes going to take that spot away. Still side by side is Jerry DiPiero trying to make that move now. It looks like he'll give Sean Hayes some space there. Or excuse me, he'll give Jordy Fike some space there as the field starts to spread out single file now, and it's just going to be a waiting game until that long oval stretch again.
Guys, I just have to interrupt again and just say how beautiful of a paint job Jordy has. I mean, that is the most amazing, glorious, if anybody needs a paint done, please look at this and use those exact logos with those exact colors.
As Adam's alluding to, this league is sponsored by us, Slow Motion Broadcasting. So if you'd like to have your league broadcasted, you get to see it on display here. Check out slowmotionbroadcasting.com.
Yeah, and so big shout out to us for sponsoring this series, giving us a chance to cover this the amazing shows that this league puts on every Thursday nights. And it looks like Soto going to go for the lead now to Eugenio Police. The switchback to the inside now. They'll be side by side down the front straightaway to start lap number 2 of this race. Full throttle from here until the first chicane. So Joshua Soto with the fastest lap. I want to see if we can go on board with Kane Lasky, the newcomer to this series, currently running P6 right now in a line behind Camden Hibbett, and you'll see what happens in front of him as they start to head through the oval. Ronnie Coates right up against the wall, 3 wide through turns 1 and 2 now. Kane, it looks like, is going to run with the 31 car up top of Ronnie Coates now. We'll see what happens as they head down this back straightaway on the oval portion of this racetrack onto the right front tire. Now you're seeing where everybody is going. It's a 3x3 pack down this back straightaway. Ronnie Coates with his nose out front. Still 3x3. Everybody tandem drafting down this back straightaway. This is absolutely fantastic. This is great racing to see as they head into turn number 3. Ronnie Coates still with the lead. Leads all 3 lanes, clear of everybody on the inside. But here comes Mike Dam to stick his nose out front. 3 wide for the lead as here comes Kane Lasky once more around the outside.
And Kane looks like he's going to go from 6th place to 1st place here. I stand corrected. That top line still able to carry a lot of momentum there as they come off the exit. It's going to have a huge run down this straightaway. Ronnie Coates keeping it nice there alongside of him. They shuffle down into 2 columns now. Looks like Ronnie Coates is going to have the inside position for the chicane. Should be able to clear that off. But yeah, Kane Lasky showing some muscle very early on.
Man, I tell you, every time they break into the chicane, my heart jumps up into my throat because it goes from such a very high speed for these cars, hard braking from pretty much 140 miles an hour to about a 35 mile an hour single file chicane. So it's very interesting to see these drivers go through it at the speeds they do while still maintaining a very close gap between each other in the process. Into the 2nd chicane now, Kane Lasky still leads over Ronnie Coates as Jerry DiPiero still leads the open class, but he's got John Casey within about a half a second of him as he breaks into the 2nd chicane. Adam is having a little bit of more fun with the SDK things, and oh no! Adam is in shambles right now. Jerry DiPiero gets the car spun back around, but he's going to be way out of the way of any sort of race for the open class lead. Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Thompson is in shambles.
A little bit of help there from the 133 of John Casey. Looks like John maybe just misjudged his brake mark a little bit and got into the rear of Jerry there at the apex of the first corner in the second chicane. And yeah, he comes from quite a far ways back. Jerry DiPiero had to get on the brakes a little bit earlier with the 36 there in front of him. And John Casey tried to close that gap up in the braking zone and just got it onto it a little bit late. Looks like Jerry saw it coming and tried to get out of the brake, get to that throttle to minimize it, but it wasn't enough. Both cars go around and relatively little damage on both of them, just a lot of time lost.
So I've heard of the oh, here's something with Kane Lasky. So we're getting word from our producer that the replay might be broken, but what I was going to say is we've heard of the commentator's curse for pretty much all forms of broadcasting, and Randall, you and I have definitely experienced some of those in a lot of these series. Adam Thompson fast forwarding us back to live picture, but I think that's the first instance where we've seen the producer curse there. Adam Thompson types Jerry in the SDK thing to show some support for his friend, and at end of the very next corner, Jerry's around. So do with that information what you will, but we're still fast forwarding to try and get us back to live picture. As the field, it looks like, at pretty much double the speed. So I'd say they're going about 260 right now, which is very, very impressive for these little cars. And it looks like they're going to try and go 3 wide again down this back straightaway. Mitchell Peak still fighting for it with Joshua Soto. There goes, I want to say it was Mike Dam to the lead into turn number 3. It's pretty difficult to tell. Now we're back at live picture. That's Camden Hibbett leading the field with Joshua Soto right on his back bumper. Mitchell Peak up in that pack as well. Ronnie Coates giving him a push around the outside as they head back down to the normal front straightaway, up over the hill, and it looks like everybody's still just hanging on to what they can. Andrew Kosek running in 18th. He has Kenneth Staub, and then the next open class car right behind him. Contact between Kenneth and Andrew Gilliland there. Andrew almost tags the wall. Now they'll go 3 wide down the GP front straightaway. We'll see if Andrew can make a move for the open class leading to turn into the first chicane. It looks like Andrew is just going to have to sit there and wait. He'll peek to the inside, though. I don't think it'd be worth it. I don't think it would be worth it. Adam, what happened?
So it sounds like we're having some technical difficulties here in the production booth right now. I'm seeing on the screen Andrew Kosek. And
same here. Andrew Kosek is not in the lead. He's running 19th right now.
And yes, he's coming through Curva Grande now. The leaders are now through the second chicane and on their way to the Lesmos. And he's hanging there on the back of back at 18th position. I wonder what happened to him. Maybe we can find a replay of it as we see a car there going off. Is that Charles Vaccaro there into the barriers, off into the gravel trap, manages to get it going again. But that was a heavy lick.
We're still looking at Andrew Kosek experiencing some technical difficulties. We're trying to work that out right now. Now we're back to the leaders as Peak still leading Camden Hibbett as they head towards Ascari now. Camden, it looks like he's not going to try a move around the number 56 car into Ascari. They're going to maintain single file through this high-speed chicane now. As in just a couple seconds time, they're going to come around to take lap number 4 and take one more long, 2.5 mile trip around the big banked oval. So Mitchell Peak still leads Camden Hibbett. We'll see if Camden goes for a move into Parabolica. Looks like he considered it there, but he's not going to go for it just yet. Onto the brakes for Parabolica. Joshua Soto with an aggressive move to the inside of Ronnie Coates. He'll get third spot away from Ronnie now. It's pretty much a 6-car breakaway between the leaders, and now we'll see an impressive display of racing as they head around the oval one more time.
And something definitely happened in the chicanes, formed this 6-car breakaway. Mike Dam was definitely involved in that, possibly Jordy Fike as well. Trying to think of some other names that were up there as we're getting a very good look at the fuel tank of one of these Miatas as they're bump drafting through the oval. Oh, sorry. That was a serpentine boat. You're right.
You can see the alternator in there, one of the water pumps. was a very accurate depiction of the engine of one of these cars. We might see it again here. No, Camden not going to push the issue, so doesn't look like we're going to see the engine of this car once again anytime soon. But Camden Hibbett, almost tagged him. Wanted to go to the inside there, and Mitchell Peak maintaining his line. Camden, I don't think, expected him to do that. Now we'll get another view of the engine. Let's see if we can identify some of these parts. There's the radiator. There it is. I think I see the starter. I definitely saw the alternator up towards the top right of that. Oh, now comes the car to the inside. Michael Coates going for it all by himself down there on the flat part of the apron. He'll be side by side with Mitchell Peak for the lead. Is Soto going to really choose his own line right below the yellow line, running. There's pretty much about 5 different lanes these drivers can use in the oval, and Michael Coates just took the lead using the very bottom one. We'll see what happens as they head towards the first chicane. 3 wide for second. Mitchell Peak going to lead him there.
And we have the 6-car breakaway. Any of these cars has a chance as long as they're in this lead draft to win this race. So I'm kind of surprised they're fighting this hard. They have a breakaway. They should just calm down, get single file, and make that breakaway bigger and make sure they have fewer competitors at the end of this race. If they keep fighting like this through the twisty bits, that second pack can close back up. Rory Coimbra heading that. He's a good Pied Piper to bring these guys back up into the contact with the leaders.
Randall, that was going to be my exact question, actually, is even though that these guys are a bit broken away, Rory Coimbra there in 7th place overall, you think that they could still catch that draft, and do you know how much of a draft these cars need, or how much of a gap these cars need to be able to break a draft would be the big thing?
To really break a draft, you're going to need about 1.7 seconds. You get just a little bit of draft at 1.5, 1.6 seconds, enough to keep them from pulling away any further. You're not going to close at that distance, but we see that gap already coming down. Rory Coimbra 1.1 seconds off the back of Kane Lasky. So they're going to be back in contact at least. Rory Coimbra, Greg Mack, as he's running wide, and Dave Staub are all going to have a chance to get back in contact with these leaders. Dave Staub having a very good race.
Hey guys, we're going to try to cut in one more time here and try another replay to see if it works. If not, I hate to tell you from Adam down here in the production booth, we aren't going to have replays from here on out. But yeah, we're going to go to a replay here. We're going to try to watch Lee Martin passing Brian Zabelski here.
So we'll see if it works. There comes the replay. It's in slow motion. Fits the channel name now. Coming around, Brian Zabelski. It looked good to me on my end. Nope, it's broken. It's stuck on the Spec-5 logo. So Adam tried his best, but in the end, he did not succeed. And now we're going to try and get us back to live picture now. We're going to have to accelerate through some of these through some of the frames again. So unfortunate, but we won't have replays anymore. But the rest of the field heading towards Ascari now, as we're a little bit delayed. Joshua Soto right behind Mitchell Peak. Rory Coimbra trying to get that second pack up with us. Now we get back to the leaders, and they're heading down the front straightaway right now. Looks like Camden Himmick going to look to the outside. 3 wide for the lead. Joshua Soto trying to make it happen to the middle. Mitchell Peak went down to the bottom. He'll have the advantage into turn number 1. Michael Coates actually has help, or is giving help, I should say, to Camden Hibbett through oval 1 and 2. And now here comes Michael Coates around the outside. Still 3 wide for the lead. Michael Coates going for it now with that run, using that progressive banking. He'll have the best run down this back straightaway to see if he can try and possibly take the lead for, I believe, the first time tonight. He has help from Joshua Soto right now. It looks like Kane Lasky not really sure of where he's going, as John Casey heading into the pits now. Back up towards the leaders. There's still 3 wide for the lead. Adam, you missed it. Kane Lasky just went from last, went to the middle of that 6-car pack, and finds himself leading at this race now through turns 3 and 4. And that was a very impressive move from the number 329 car. Shows a lot of discipline to be able to make a move through the middle like that.
It does. And we got a glimpse there of John Casey pulling into the pit lane. I thought maybe he was going to try to pit early and then save fuel, but no, we see that he's disconnected and he's calling the race early, quite out of contention now. See, trouble back behind. 2 cars around. It looks like Greg Mack.
Oh my god! Oh, what the hell? Oh my god! It's a horrible crash.
This is the big one we kind of thought was going to come. It happened here on lap 5. It looked like Greg Mack and Eugenio Polici got together coming off of the oval turn 4, and
there's
still cars being collected. Otis Adams Jr.'s heavy damage finally is able to tow. Lots of cars damaged in that. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to bring you the replay, so we're on board with Jerry DiPiero, who's on an island of his own. Ray Lombardi getting back up to speed. There we have Jose Gonzalez and Charles Vaccaro. Jose Gonzalez is still having trouble with that car and is going to pull it in the barrier and likely going to have to tow. Lee Martin looks like he's got some rear end damage possibly. Maybe got through there cleanly, but that was a lot of mayhem.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was sitting there just taking a quick bite of food real quick, and I was gonna wash it down with some water, and I just looked in the back of I saw somebody 15 feet in the air. We cut back to it. I want to say I think it was Greg Mack who was in the air, and he was gonna get back down on his wheels. Then somebody clobbered him, made him do like a helicopter move, catch fence. Came back on his wheels again. Somebody else clobbered him. And that was just mayhem down at the GP front straightaway, and that's what we were expecting coming to this track with pretty much the pack racing style of racing, but I didn't think I would see anything that big. That was a massive, massive wreck.
That's just, it is, I don't think we're going to be able to
worth broken replay, honestly, Adam. So
we're going to take one more look at it, yes.
Yeah, we're going to try and get a broken replay coming in for you guys. As here it is. This is heading down the front straightaway. This is Greg Mack. This is in the second pack. That was about 5 seconds behind the leaders when this happened. It looked like one car got into the guardrail. And then just an unfortunate series of moves gets Greg Mack up on his side there. Ends up on his roof as everybody else spinning, gets launched back from the barrier. And then gets helicoptered into the catch fences. Then it's just a pile-up as a bunch of cars around and absolutely destroyed down the front straightaway. And poor Greg Mack got the absolute worst of that. Caught a little bit of an iRacing glitch there on the green barrier. Jose Gonzalez nowhere to go. Caught the green barrier, sent him backwards up in the air. And then he got clobbered by another car, which sent him into the catch fence. And that is going to be the end of the night for a lot of drivers. And that might be the most drivers that are out of the race I've ever seen in a Spec-5 World Tour event. Currently, let's see if I can count. I don't know if I can. 8 cars of the 26 that have started this race are currently in the pits out of this race. And now it's a 5-car lead pack as Ronnie Coates and Rudy Coimbra have fallen back a little bit. We'll see if these drivers can make it to the front straightaway a little bit better than what happened last lap. Here's Andrew Kosick right with Andrew Gilliland, who's only about 5/10 ahead of him. So these two open class cars right on top of each other at the moment. And it looks like Rudy Coimbra and Ronnie Coates have made their way back up into the main pack. So it's once again a 7-car lead field down the Grand Prix front straightaway now, as they'll be heading into the first chicane shortly, side by side, 2 by 2. And onto the brakes. These drivers just need to be careful, knowing what happened behind them last lap is into the first chicane. A lot of give and take for these drivers. They aren't too aggressive, and they let everybody make it through the corner clean.
Yeah, we saw Ronnie Coates, I believe, was strategically falling back to Rudy Coimbra to bring his teammate into play. Now having a 7-car pack, we'll see if they can make their way to the front. A very cheeky move from the KG veteran Ronnie Coates. Now brings his buddy in the 78 into this fight. Hopefully they can work together and get to the front and maybe solidify a little bit of a lead here. But this front pack has not been calm. They've been fighting every lap, and that breakaway just keeps getting bigger. David Staub now 7 seconds off of that lead pack.
So we're going to drag in Otis Adams Jr. for another in-race interview. Otis, we got a broken replay to see what happened there in that wreck, and it was absolutely insane what happened there off of turn number 4. What happened from your point of view?
Well, in the car, I didn't know what happened. I was just driving and saw the big wreck ahead and just kind of hugged the right side and hoped to make it, and then felt a huge hit and didn't know what happened. So while I was towing back, went and watched the replay, and looked like somebody was trying to avoid a car that was flying in the air and swerved into me. But yeah, it looked like somebody decided to make it 3 wide coming out of the oval, like we said, please don't do, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and what you were seeing was somebody trying to dodge a flying car. That was Greg Mack, who was about 5 seconds up the road from you. What happened to him is he got turned. He was pretty much two-wheeling it off the green retaining wall there, and it looks like he just caught a little bit of an iRacing glitch, which sent him flying backwards. Then he got clobbered by another car, which sent him into the catch fence. So unfortunate circumstances for you. How are you looking at the remainder of this race?
We'd have a fast repair, so the car's fine now, and just try to get whatever points I can get, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It's just going to be a recovery race for Otis Adams Jr. Hopefully you can get a couple more spots. They are currently sitting in 19th.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
It's Adam Thompson down here in the production booth. I just want you to know, if we saw that big of a wreck with a 6-car field, I would just kind of hold tight, man, because there's nothing saying that these leaders aren't going to do the same thing.
That's true. That's true. I should keep that in mind.
All right, buddy. Have a good rest of the race, all right?
Thanks, guys.
That was Otis Adams, and we saw Mitchell Peak and Camden Hibbett are the first takers for the pit lane entry. That's a good pair. They could work together and maybe establish a lead, have it, a little room to race, and just kind of draft each other and work together. You could see them with a bit of a jump on these other drivers the way they keep fighting. So it'd be interesting to see how that all plays out. We got to keep an eye on the gaps here. You see them starting to close the gaps to the cars ahead. You know that they're going to be getting a good run at the end of the pit rotation.
Yeah, and Mitchell Peak and Camden Hibbett were pretty much right with it coming out of the pits there. They're right on top of each other now. Camden, I don't know if I'd be doing this if I was in his spot. I'd probably be pushing Mitchell Peak. Actually, I think they're swap drafting, employing a little technique I've heard of called the Pavelski Doctrine, where two cars try and swap draft at a plate track to increase their speed and hopefully make up some time. And it looks like that's exactly what they're doing. Is Camden let Mitchell get a nice run and then pulled out of the way. Mitchell doing the same thing where Camden's getting a nice run, then Mitchell's pulling out of the way, and they're just going to keep swap drafting like this back and forth until they're back up with the leaders after they pit. So very nice strategic movements from these two drivers. They're not on the same team, but it's a very nice job from both of them. Shows a lot of maturity to be able to work together like this.
And we see they're catching the 137 of Ken Staub pretty quickly. They're going to need to deal with some of these slower cars that they catch as quickly as possible and lose as little time as possible. And if they keep doing this swap draft and the other drivers stay out longer and keep fighting, I think we're going to see a 2-car breakaway.
We just might. However, with the draft that these cars can pick up in bigger fields, I don't think it would just work. I feel like if they just maintained single file and started to work together, 5 cars in a pack could easily outrun 2 cars in a pack. So it all depends on what this group of drivers decides to do when they're on straightaways like this, heading into Ascari and not on the oval. Because if you're racing on the oval, I mean, as long as you have 2 cars in a pack, you're not really going to be losing that much time. So I think if they race on the oval, that's okay. But when they start racing each other in the chicanes, I think that's when they're going to be losing time.
And we saw now Rui Coimbra up to second place. He was completely out of touch with the lead pack just a few laps ago. So he's managed to make his way up thanks to Ronnie Coates. Now looking to the inside, a Parabolica going to make the move there on Josh Soto and get the lead for himself and going to take a bonus point for leading a lap. So a real change of fortune here for Rui Coimbra. I think we might see Josh Soto dip into the pits. Is he going to be by himself? He is going to be out to dry by himself. No, that Michael Coates goes with him at the last moment. Good call by Michael Coates. Sees that he has a good dance partner. Now we're down to 3 of these leaders here, going to be out here by themselves for a lap. I suspect they'll all 3 come in the next time by.
We will just have to wait and see, and we also have to look to see where Joshua Soto and Michael Coates come out in relation to Camden Hibbett and Peak, as Camden and Mitchell are currently heading into Parabolica right now. Meanwhile, Coates and Soto are still just sitting idle in their pit stalls, waiting for some fuel to get in the cars, maybe taking some tires as well. I presume if they take tires, it will be left sides, although with the updates done to these cars, it doesn't really affect them, as Mitchell coming really close to the pit wall there, just trying to get all the draft he can off of Kenneth Staub, who just pitted that time by. Here comes Soto out of the pits, way out of touch of Michael Coates, who is going to be pretty far behind even Mitchell Peak. So Joshua Soto with another fantastic pit stop there. It's going to get him about 3 seconds ahead of these 2 cars, who are continuing to swap draft down this full throttle portion of the racetrack. So still continuing to swap draft now, as it looks like they're going to catch up to Joshua Soto eventually, but still a great pit stop for the number 135 team.
About 6 seconds difference between Josh Soto and Michael Coates, you really have to wonder if Josh Soto got enough fuel in that car. He may have to save here in the closing stages of this race. Maybe will end up in fuel trouble at the end. He was 42 seconds in the pit lane the entire length of it, including the stop. These drivers here that we're looking at now, Camden Hibbett and Mitchell Peak, were 42 seconds off the leaders the last time they came across the line. So if these leaders stay out any longer, I think they're only doing themselves harm unless they're going to work together.
Yeah, especially as these cars getting a three-car pack now. As using this draft, they are really starting to close the gap to Joshua Soto, and it's only a matter of time. I assume by the end of the lap, they'll be caught up to Joshua Soto now as the lead, a group of 3 cars heading into Lesmos at the moment. Rui Coimbra leads the way with the fastest lap of the race with a 3:26.023. And here's Jordy Fike running with David Staub here. Jordy Fike running with the real-life Idemitsu Globa Mazda MX-5 Cup driver of the number 36 machine. So good on David Staub for sticking with this virtual series, and it's pretty cool to see a real-life driver in a series that we get.
And I've seen him race real life. I can tell you that his car looks exactly like the one that he has here in the sim. So if you ever find yourself at an MX-5 Cup race, look for this number 35 in the Liqui-Moly blue livery. And that will be David Staub. Sorry, number 36. He also drives Lamborghini Super Trofeo at a few courses, which is pretty neat.
Randall, does he run the same number in real life as well?
Yes, I believe that he does run the 36 in real life.
So you've seen him race in real life. Does he still run pink rims? Because if he runs pink rims, I might have to attend the next race he goes to.
You know, I don't. I think they were white rims, but I could be wrong. I don't really remember the color of the rims.
Because if they're pink rims in real life, that is phenomenal, and I respect anybody who puts pink anywhere on their car, because in my opinion, pink cars, severely underrated, but that's just my opinion. Is now the leaders into the pits with presumably about 4 laps remaining in this race to lap 13. Rui Coimbra leads them there. Ronnie Coates and Kane Lasky all in the pits. We're going to get a nice pit exit cam as it looks like the second pack consisting of Joshua Soto, Camden Hibbett, and Mitchell Peak heading into Parabolica right now. We'll see them in just a second as they head out of the final corner, just waiting for them. And coming out of the final corner, it looks like all 3 of these drivers are out of their pit stall, so I think they will be able to get in touch with the lead pack. So it looks like, yeah, a great stop for all 3 of those cars. I think Rui Coimbra got the best out of all of them. So I don't know if maybe Kane Lasky or Ronnie Coates is going to be able to stick with these cars. They're just splitting all of them right now. I think Kane Lasky might be out of it, but Ronnie Coates and Rui Coimbra definitely well within the pack. So great job for those 3 drivers to get good enough pit stops to keep up. There's actually Ronnie Coates might not be in this main pack anymore. We have to see if he can work with Kane Lasky to close that gap down, but it's up to 1.7 seconds now.
And we've seen Ronnie Coates pull another car up, so it's definitely not outside of the realm of possibility. If he just drags the brake a little bit or lifts a little bit in one of these oval corners, he'll bring himself back to Kane Lasky. They can hook up and work together to get up there. If these leaders fight at all, though, those 2 will be easily back in contact, even if they don't work together. So keep an eye on this front pack. If they start fighting in any of the chicanes or any of the GP circuit, you'll start seeing Ronnie Coates and Kane both closing it on this pack really quickly.
I'm going to play devil's advocate right now, guys. Rui Coimbra is on that not a team, right? So you wonder if he's going to start battling these guys intentionally to allow Ronnie Coates to get back up there to make this a 6-car pack.
I doubt it.
I don't think he's going to have to do very much here because Ronnie Coates was able to break much deeper than the cars here in this pack and is basically back in contact. Same thing with Kane Lasky. They're going to easily be back in contact by the end of this lap when they go into Parabolica. So it's already a done deal.
Yeah, so Ronnie Coates already brings himself back up into contention, making this a 6-car pack once more now as they head towards the second chicane. Just under 15 minutes remaining in this race now. So we have to see what these drivers start to do. They're probably going to get a bit more aggressive than they already have been if they want to find themselves up front when the checkered flag eventually falls in a couple laps time. I believe at the line, if we're shooting for a 13-lap race, it should be 4 to go at the line. So we'll see what happens, as we have still quite a bit of time to determine who's going to come out on top.
Now we have a very, very special segment of the race that we do for every Spec-5 race. We are going to salute our back markers. Our back marker salute today is going to, well, John Casey's out of this race, so he's not really out there as a back marker. Jose Gonzalez, who we saw involved in that huge crash and had some issues with the car after some heavy contact. He is our current back marker. Sir, we salute you. Thank you for sticking it out there. You're awesome. Gonna make sure you get some time here on screen, because there's nothing worse than driving around last place in a race, and you're still out there getting it done, and looks like maybe you have a chance here on Ray Lombardi. Good on you, sir.
Yeah, and it looks like Jose Gonzalez actually making moves on Ray Lombardi, too, having a pretty epic battle for the last, and Jose Gonzalez riding it out of the guardrail. That's a certified back marker right there. Knows exactly what he's doing behind the wheel of this race car to keep it under control like that. No offense. No, I'm being serious. No offense to Jose Gonzalez. You're running that far back and you're still pulling off saves like that. You deserve to be further up the field. And just like Randall said, we salute you. Ray Lombardi up here as well. I believe everybody up here, up through probably the leaders of the open class, everybody back here was involved in that massive wreck in the second pack. So Jerry's back is still running in P4 for the open class. There's kind of a stop. In front of him is the 101 car of John Allen. In front of him is Otis Adams Jr., who we got to talk to a little bit of the midway through this race. Lee Martin up in 17th, Charles Vaccaro in 16th, Greg Mack in 15th, who, might I just say, he's in 15th place right now. This man went through an iRacing glitch that sent him 40 feet into the air, then got clobbered by another car and turned into a helicopter, and he's still wheeling this car around up in 15th place. So hats off to you, Greg. Great on you. And then a little bit further up the road, Sean Hayes in the number 14 car, and then you get to the leaders of the open class. So I believe that will conclude the back marker salute as the open class drivers side by side for the lead now. Great on all the back markers for sticking with us. And there's something I gotta mention in the YouTube chat. If y'all were here for the race that ended about 20 minutes before this race started, you will know that I put my money on my good buddy Alexander Throttle Balderas to win that race, and he didn't win. I actually think he died on the last lap, but he said in the YouTube chat, Adam, thank you for making me aware of this. He said in the YouTube chat, tell Andersen to make the race go faster. I don't really know what to say to that. Personally, I apologize, Throttle, but I don't really want to make the race go faster because it's been really, really interesting so far. We still have 6 cars, any of which could come out with the win on this race. So just hang out for about 20 more minutes, good sir, and I will see, and let's get back to it. Is Brian Zabelski going to try and chase down Mike Dam now, who's running in P10? Mike just got an unfortunate series of pit stops. David Staub, the real-life Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup driver, running P9. There's Jordy Fike in P8. Michael Coates fell out of the lead pack through the pit stops. He's in P7 right now. We got into the grass a little bit out of the second Lesmos, and then up in front of him, you get to the main pack. Kane Lasky up here in 6th, Ronnie Coates in 5th, Camden Hibbett in 4th, Rui Coimbra in 3rd, Joshua Soto in 2nd, and Mitchell Peak leading the field in P number 1. And as they cross the line this time by, we are looking at, if I'm not mistaken, 3 laps to go from Monza. So I would say it's going to start to be crunch time soon for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, we're going to start seeing a little bit more aggression out of these drivers. But I suspect, 3 laps is still a long time to go around here. You're still looking at about 10 minutes of racing to go. So maybe not as frenetic with 3 to go, but once that white flag comes out, there's no more friendships. There's no more working together. Everybody's going to be absolutely cutthroat. What we might see on this lap is some jockeying through the oval to see which line works best on the exit, a few dress rehearsals for the drag race at the end of the race down to that GP turn 1 chicane. Because basically, if you're leading going into GP1, you have a pretty good chance to win this race.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, even if you are leading into GP1, you still have several more braking corners to negotiate, each that have pretty much equally long straightaways to the normal front straightaway and the straights on the oval. So still a lot of time to make moves, even if you can't get one done in the oval. But 2x2 for the lead. 3 cars up top, 3 cars on the bottom now as they head into turn number 3. Rui Coimbra leads the charge on the inside. Joshua Soto trying to make some momentum on the high side. Joshua Soto with help from, I believe, Ronnie Coates at the moment. Mitchell Peak trying to push Rui Coimbra out there, and it's working at the moment for that bottom line. Rui Coimbra currently has his nose out front. I reckon Joshua Soto will have the run off the top here as they head down the GP front straightaway. They'll hold it together. No wrecks at the moment. Ronnie Coates almost steps out of line there, and Joshua Soto with the run out of turn number 4 is going to take the lead as they head down into the chicane. Still 2x2 as they hop onto the brakes in just a moment for the first chicane. Rui Coimbra late on the brakes trying to hold it together. They all pretty much still maintain side by side throughout this pack. This is insane racing right now.
Given the size of these MX-5s, you can go 2x2 through that chicane. It's a little slower, but bigger cars, you can't really pull that off as much. And now that I look at my timing screen, it looks like Jerry DiPiero has finally made his pit stop. So our true backmarker salute is to Jerry DiPiero, who was involved with John Casey in an incident very early on. Was kind of a victim and has been on an island for most of this race. Still out here clocking laps and going to bring home the groceries. Sir, we salute you.
Yes, we do, Jerry DiPiero. I reckon Adelmat. I can't speak the English language right now. I'm just going to say it. I reckon Adam will have a little message for you through the SDK chat if you can get one prepared in time. But Rui Coimbra still there. It is Jerry. As Rui Coimbra still leads, Joshua Soto still leads, Mitchell Peak leads, Ronnie Coates leads, Camden Hibbett leads, Kane Lasky now. As they head under the oval portion of the racetrack towards Ascari, Rui Coimbra going to lead them there. Joshua Soto right on his back bumper. Probably could make a move if he chose to do so, but you don't really want to go side by side through any of these chicanes on this track, because it's pretty scary to have to go side by side through there. So these drivers still playing it smart, even though they're about to take 2 laps to go at the line. And yes, we still love you, Jerry.
Josh Soto going to look to the inside, showing his nose. Is definitely going to have a run here and going to have the inside line, which is the preferred line through Parabolica. And you will almost always win the drag race off the corner to the finish line if you have the inside, even if the outside line has a nose on you. So he easily gets that pass done and will lead this lap. Right now, your wild card, I think, is got to be Kane Lasky. Nobody knows what he's really going to do. Nobody's, he's new to this league. Nobody knows what kind of moves he's going to make, when he can turn up the aggression, how aggressive he could be and still stick his corners. And we saw him at the beginning of the race. He went from 6th to 1st in the oval section. So when that white flag comes out, he might be in the right position.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like when you mention wild cards, like you mentioned, Randall, Kane Lasky's got to be one of them. First race in this series, and he's shown up in a big way so far, but who's shown up in a bigger way this season is the current leader of the open class, 11 years old, Andrew Gilliland, driving the number 16 Miata. This driver, this very, very young driver, showing so much persistence in this series and so much persistence in his career that it's awesome to see a young driver like this show up to a series like this and be able to compete with the best of the best in these cars and still able to hold his own in his class respectively. It's Eugenio Polici, actually, with the new fastest lap of the race, the Italian, getting some screen time now with a 3:25 at 9:37 there for the fastest lap of the race. So good on him, still sticking with this, as I believe the leader's now heading down the front straightaway towards the first chicane. So we'll see what's happening with them if we can. So we're still looking at Eugenio Polici now, as I believe the leader's breaking into the first chicane. There they are. Joshua Soto has the lead. There's Kane Lasky, like we mentioned, Randall in second. trying to get something done through the chicane. Can't get a nose in on Joshua Soto now, as it's, I reckon, going to be single file throughout this pack until they really get back to the oval section where they can try and make some moves together.
I think P5 is the spot to be coming into that oval on the white flag lap. Right now, that belongs to Ronnie Coates, so we'll keep an eye on him. I think P5 is the spot. Kane was able to get up to second place and was able to challenge that first chicane, but was not able to get his nose in there enough to actually get a pass done. Actually, Camden Hibbett has taken over that 5th position over from Ronnie Coates. So right now, Camden is what I believe is the spot to be in. But we'll see. It's going to get absolutely bonkers on this last lap.
Yeah, definitely is there as they head through Lesmos for the second to last time. And now the long straight to Ascari at the moment. Joshua Soto still leads this field. We'll see where Camden Hibbett ends up, as he's currently in 5th. And he'll probably stay there until they get to the white flag. So under the bridge for the oval and breaking into the Ascari chicane now. It's all going to... Oh, Joshua Soto dipped some tires into the grass there. You can see how unsettled the car got. He almost lost it, but still maintains fantastic pace through that corner. Here's a replay of it if Adam... Oh, so apologies, wasn't a replay. There was SDK was having a little bit of fun as they head towards Parabolica now. They're going to take the white flag this time by. We'll see who is able to use their knowledge of the oval and how it is driven to their advantage now. As Joshua Soto leads him down the front straightaway, he will take the white flag for this group of cars. It all comes down to this.
Whoever wins the race to GP Turn 1, I believe it would be Turn 5 on this course, is my prediction for the winner. Whoever has the lead coming out of that first chicane is going to have the easiest run to victory as long as they defend the inside line on each corner. It should be easily done. Josh Soto looks like he's way out of the throttle here. Camden Hibbett has a massive run on the outside.
Here he comes around the outside, like you mentioned, Randall. Camden Hibbett, you said, is in the best possible spot to try and make a move for the lead. Currently blocked by Mitchell Peak up against the wall. But now down the back straightaway on the oval for the final time. Kane Lasky taking the lead right now. Joshua Soto flying through with him. Going to give him a massive shove down the straight. And I think, honestly, there can still be moves made into Parabolica. Rewind finish last time we went to Monza in this series because of Parabolica. So I don't know if it'll be over when they get to the first chicane. We'll have to just wait and see. It's 3 wide for the lead. Ronnie Coates, or excuse me, that's Mitchell Peak. Or no, that was Ronnie Coates trying to get something done to the inside. Not going to be able to work side by side between Kane Lasky and Joshua Soto. Very unsettled over that bump for the final time. Down the Grand Prix front straightaway, they're beating and banging as they head towards the first chicane. We're going to see who will get there first. It's looking like it'll be Joshua Soto, as he's going to be clear of any cars. Kane Lasky going to try and send it in to try and take the lead in his first start.
Kane Lasky very late on the brakes every time we've seen him racing side by side with somebody, and he's going to have the run coming out of turn 5 there, and he's going to have the lead coming through Curva Grande. Now he needs to clear Josh Soto. Josh Soto's only really good chance is going to be here coming into the second chicane, and it looks like he's going to be able to stay alongside. So here we're going to see who's going to be the last of the late breakers here.
Yes, there we go. Here we'll see onto the brakes. It looks like Kane got on the brakes a little bit later than Soto. Still going to maintain the lead as they head through the second chicane into Lesmos for the final time. They still have 2 more long straightaways to deal with. Kane going to try and defend Mitchell Peak as they head into Lesmos. That'll give Kane a nice shot if he wants to make the move into Ascari. It looks like off track there behind him. Rui Coimbra gets off track. He's going to save it as he heads into the second Lesmos. Very, very impressive driving from the number of the 78, but back down the straightaway on the run towards Ascari. Here comes Kane Lasky back to the right side. He'll head under the oval bridge for the final time alongside the race leader. What can Mitchell Peak do from third place now, as Soto has a little bit of a run back down towards Ascari? Soto, is he going to back out? They go side by side through Ascari. Can they hold it together? Yes, they will. We'll have to see what Soto can pull off into the final corner. He needs help from Mitchell Peak to pull this move off. Let's see if they can defend. Kane Lasky going to hold the apron now. He's going to hold the bottom. Can anybody get around this 329 car as they head into the final corner? Soto tries to send it to the inside. He's there. They're 3 wide, 4 wide into the final corner. Camden Hibbett gets hit. He almost goes around. He saves it. Joshua Soto with the lead out of the final corner. Who is it going to be at the line? Soto clear by 2.5 tenths. And I think it's going to be the 135 machine at the line. Yes, it will. Joshua Soto wins at Monza.
I gotta feel bad for Kane Lasky here. I think that was his race to lose. He gave a little bit of a glimpse of that inside, and Josh Soto sniffed it out, put his nose in there, and lifted him off that white line, got the inside, and got the good run through Parabolica and won that race. I hate to say it, Kane, but that was your race to lose, and Josh Soto got the better of you.
What a finish. I would expect nothing less from this course. It's got to be one of my favorite layouts on the iRacing service, and it gave us another absolutely fantastic show tonight from the best of the best in the Miata racing business on the iRacing service. Absolutely incredible job from everybody's head across the line. Andrew Gilliland with the open class win. The youngest driver I've probably ever seen on the service, and he's mature enough to be able to take the win against a bunch of other Miata professionals on iRacing there. Great job. Hats off to Andrew Gilliland in the number 16 car, as it looks like everybody coming through Parabolica. The final car to cross the line is going to be Jerry DiPiero. So, Adam, you can get one more Let's Go Jerry message in before this race ends, as now we just have to wait for the 122 car to come across the line.
Back to the scene of his incident with John Casey early in the race. It's clearly not an intentional wreck, just an unfortunate circumstance. He's going to make it through here, eating the curves just good, getting a dip off those tires into the gravel just a little bit. Jerry bringing it home. What a champ.
Yeah, just absolutely fantastic race. I'm 4 wide into Parabolica. And I know last time we came to this iconic racetrack in the Spec-5 World Tour, it was at the normal Grand Prix layout, and they came out of Parabolica. They came out of Parabolica 3 wide, and they came down to the line. Randall, I don't know. I think this race might beat it. They went 4 wide in the final corner. Camden Hibbett almost died. He managed to save the car, and they kept going all down the front straightaway. Joshua Soto ends up with the best of it, as now we just have to wait for Jerry DiPiero to head down the back straightaway. The back marker salute, I would say the official back marker of tonight's race. He's been just biding his time back here, about 1 minute and 47 seconds behind the leaders. So Jerry DiPiero riding around back here into the final corner, my friend. We salute you, driving the number 122 open class machine. And before he gets to the line, he's going to almost bin it into the final corner, keeps it off the wall. Probably with where he just came out to the green wall, he probably just got a 145-second slowdown. He's having a little bit of fun behind the wheel. Now we'll come across the line, and we can get your race results up from tonight. And Randall, that was such an incredible race.
You had seen it developing all night long, and we knew that it was going to be 4 or 5 cars there at the end fighting for it, and that's exactly what happened.
Incredible race as Joshua Soto wins a 4 battle to win at Monza. Mitchell Peak second place, Kane Lasky in third in his first start, Ronnie Coates in fourth, Cameron Hibbett in fifth, Ruby Coimbra in sixth, David Staub in seventh, Jordy Fike in eighth, Mike Dam in ninth, Brian Zabelski in 10th, Andrew Gilliland in 11th, Lee Martin in 12th, Andrew Cossack in 13th, Sean Hayes in 14th, Greg Mack in 15th, Otis Adams Jr. in 16th, John Allen in 17th, Kenneth Staub in 18th, a little bit behind them, Charles Vaccaro in 19th, Ray Lombardi in 20th, Eugenio Polici in 21st, Jose Gonzalez in 22nd, Michael Coates in 23rd, Jerry DiPiero in 24th, Nicky Barovic in 25th, and John Casey rounds out the field in 26th. And Randall, it is to my knowledge that you are on standby with our open class winner, Andrew T. Gilliland.
Andrew Gilliland, your first, I believe your first win in the open class this season and ever in your Spec 5 career. How does it feel?
Oh man, it feels amazing. It was a great race. Just really fun. Love being out there with the guys.
So this track is massive. What is it like going on all these long straightaways? How do you maintain your focus?
Oh man, it's tough. You're just driving straight for forever. It's tough. You just got to follow in that draft. You got to stick with your guys.
So we saw you making some moves out there back through the field. You didn't quite start on pole, but you got your way up to the lead, and you had a nice, comfortable lead there for the last couple of laps. Were you watching your mirror at all? Were you concerned about fuel or anything like that?
Oh, I was very concerned about fuel. I had like couple, like I did not have much left.
Well, it looks like you played it just right and nailed the pit strategy. Brought home your first win. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
I just like to thank all my family, my grandpa, just really everyone that I know.
Well, congratulations on your first win, and hopefully we have you back up here again soon with another one.
Yeah, thank you.
And that was your open class winner, Andrew Gilliland, getting the open class getting whipped by, what did you say, he's 11? That's incredible.
Yeah, it's honestly awesome to see. And I am on standby with the pro class winner, Joshua Soto. And Josh, 4 wide into the final corner on the final lap. Did you expect that at all?
Yeah, I expected it to be pretty very tough in that to that last corner, mainly because it's like right after a straight and everybody has all this draft. So yeah, but I didn't expect it to be I didn't expect there to be like any contact though.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw it, but Cameron Hibbett almost died going into the final corner. Got a little bit of a door tap from I honestly I don't remember who went 4 wide into that corner besides Cameron Hibbett. I know there was a lot of tight racing there. Cameron Hibbett got hit a little bit, got sent sideways, but managed to save it, and that pretty much set you out for good. But through those final couple of laps, or really before I get to that, what's it like at this track? I know last time we were here at this track, I think you might have won that race too at the Monza normal GP layout. But tonight here at the Monza Combined layout, how is it pretty much being full throttle for about probably a minute and a half straight?
Oh man, it feels like NASCAR or something. Like just
Yeah.
go around the oval. Yeah, I was getting it basically just felt like a NASCAR mixed with a like a road track. It was very interesting racing. Almost like being at Daytona, but a lot more.
Yeah, and it definitely looked like a lot of fun from up here. And I mean, really, with the pit stops, it was a pretty short race in terms of lap counts. I know the distance was a while, but in terms of lap counts, were you ever concerned about the amount of fuel you had left?
I was concerned when I left the pits, a little bit, but I knew that I had left like a little bit early, um, mainly so I can make sure that I would be able to one stay near the lead pack and stuff like that. But I also was able to like pull up the cars behind so we can make.
You want to thank before we let you go?
I want to thank you guys, the broadcasters, Alex, Adam, and Randall. Also everybody that's behind the scenes, everybody that's involved, all the donators, and also my family and my friends.
All right, well, I'm sure they will all appreciate that very much. Congrats on the win tonight, my friend. Hope again next week from Suzuka.
Hey, thank you.
And I believe, Randall, we have one more you remaining, and I believe you are on standby with the driver that will have that interview. Mitchell Peak, the second place finisher tonight.
Mitchell Peak, you were able to bring it home in a P2, keeping that car there at the front of the field, fighting for another championship. What was it like out there tonight?
That was just totally insane. It was just totally insane right from the drop of the green flag. going into the pit stops, I had a clean car still. That was the goal. Was just keep the car clean, don't get involved in anything. And Camden and I pit together, so I knew I had a drafting buddy, and we were working well together to try to make some time up. And then we caught up with Soto, and 6 of us at the end, and then 4 wide into Parabolica. I didn't even know we were 4 wide. I knew we were 3 wide, and then I heard contact behind me. So I figured I got to stay like super wide out here, and just in case anything's happening. And just super happy to come away with P2. It's a long season, 13 races, and all points count. So clean car at the finish, 0x race, P2. I'll take that any day.
That was a wild one for sure coming into that last corner. We weren't really sure who was going to win that drag race, and then the contact happened and really threw a wrench in it. But you did the right thing going wide, and you can manage to come home second. Tell us, so what are your thoughts on the rest of the schedule? We have Suzuka coming up, and then Mosport, and then Le Mans. Do you have anything coming up that you're looking forward to in particular?
There's a really sneaky race number 7 in there that I think is going to be really fun, doing the Scuba 1000. That thing's going to be nuts. Like, I mean, it's a little gimmicky, but at the same time, like that's what we're here for. Like, let's race that one on super short track and see if we can have 30 cars survive that one. But no, I'm looking forward to the whole season. There's a really great mix of your standard road circuits. You've got some classic racetracks in there, and it's 13 races, 10 to go. It's pretty tight up at the championship lead right now. So, head down, keep on it, and hopefully talking to you guys again next week.
Well, congratulations on a good race. And like you said, hopefully we have you up here in the booth more often and you get a good chance to fight for another championship.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it.
That was your overall P2 finisher, P2 in the pro class as well, and championship contender, Mitchell Peak.
And what a race he had tonight. He was 1 spot behind where he probably would have wanted to be, but still fantastic race from everybody involved. Randall, what's your take?
Oh, what's my take? Kane got a pretty cheap lesson tonight, I think. You can't give up the white line into Parabolica.
Oh, 100%. And just an absolutely incredible race. And we're going to give you your upcoming broadcasts on the channel real fast. Sunday, January 29th at 9:10 p.m. EST, or excuse me, 8:10 p.m. EST. The Cross Series League Racing Championship returns once more with the Radical SR8s heading to the Charlotte Rolls. That's going to be interesting. Be on the lookout for that. And Tuesday, January 31st at 9:10 p.m. EST, the American Muscle Series returns for their second race of the season with the Mustang FR 500s at Donington Park. And then 1 week from now, Thursday, February 2nd at 9:15 p.m. EST, Spec-5 World Tour returns once more with the Mazda MX-5 Cup cars from Suzuka. So be on the lookout for that. But anyways, that's all we have for you tonight. My name is Alex Andersen. I've been joined in the commentary booth by Randall McGrew with Adam Thompson in our virtual production truck. And from round 3 of season 12 of the Spec-5 World Tour from the Autodromo Nazionale, Monza, have a good night.